In the last video, we took the Scamp up to Elaire State Park in central New Jersey. This trip was to get out of the house and do something fun for Patrick's birthday. It was also the first trip where we got to try out our new extension on the bed so that it was a little bit more comfortable for us to sleep when we were traveling with Redford. We headed over to the Historic Village of Allaire because this weekend the village was open and they were having people demonstrate what happened in all the different buildings. When we were here last year, all of the buildings were closed, and Elaire is still just a beautiful place to visit, but this year having the buildings open and having demonstrations from the blacksmith and each of the different craftspeople really made the whole process so much more interesting to see what it would have really been like. Next we went over to the general store, and this has an interesting collection of items that you would find in the store during that time period, as well as modern things that you can get as a souvenir. But it's laid out really well, and there's a lot of things that help you to gain more understanding of what this little village was actually like when people lived here and worked here. There was one more building that we wanted to stop at before we left because we saw it last year and it was closed and we were really disappointed, so we didn't want to miss it this year. To the bakery. Oh, you're going in?
Oh, you can go in.
I don't know if that's safe.
Go ahead.
We saw what you did yesterday at the bakery.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You can go in.
Don't go racing.
Oh, okay. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
We spent some time walking around the trails at Elaire because that was something we didn't get to do last year. They have a pond and a nature center. Then we went back to the campground, back to the Scamp, and I started to get dinner ready. I was going to use the cast iron Dutch oven to make some chili over the fire. It is very different being here this year compared to last year, and I think the weather has really made all the difference. It's probably the last really nice weekend of this year. Now, last year it was snowing and sleeting, so the campground was much emptier than it was this year. This is Sunday going into Monday, so today a lot of people left. It's pretty quiet right now. And the difference was that the village was actually open this year, although it was kind of, a little different because size was limited and you actually had to pay admission to go into the village so that they can keep everything going. But very neat to see the blacksmith and all the people kind of reenacting what the village would have been doing back when it was a functioning area. And then we just kind of walked around the trails a little bit. This is a very, very popular area for taking pictures. Everywhere you go there are photographers and you have to kind of work around them. That was why last year we didn't walk down any of the hiking trails. We were only here for one day. But there were so many photographers we just felt like we were in the way. So we didn't even go and walk on the trails. But it's kind of what you would expect. We're still in that New Jersey coastal plain area, so it's very flat. There's not as many pine trees up here. It's not really pine barrens. There's more oak, but not the most interesting of walking trails. I don't even think I would call it hiking, but still a beautiful day to be outside, and we have really, really enjoyed that. And now I'm making chili, so that'll be a good good hearty dinner because it feels like it's getting a little bit chillier tonight. It's like 4 o'clock right now. The sun is still up, but Red insisted on getting in the bed. He's exhausted. I really like to make either chili or a big pot of soup using the cast iron pot over the fire. It's a pretty easy way to cook over the fire, and I usually use a Bear Creek soup mix. They're big and you can usually get a few meals out of them, and then I just throw in a whole bunch of vegetables to make the meal a little bit healthier. I feel like this is a perfect meal to cook over the fire with the Dutch oven. Here's our finished chili. We're gonna have some leftovers, and we're toasting some bread on the fire, and then we're gonna give it a try. This is really hot. Yeah. After dinner, it was time to make a special dessert. Since this was Patrick's birthday weekend that we were camping, it was also the first time that we were going to use the Omnia Oven, which is the new piece of kitchen equipment that we got, which allows you to bake things. They say pretty much anything that you can make in an oven, you can cook using the Omnia. I put some cake mix into the muffin attachment for the Omnia, and then I put it on top of our regular single burner Coleman camp stove for a little under 15 minutes. Wow. Not bad.
Yeah. Called it pretty quick.
There you go. It's like a game changer.
Yeah.
Fresh,
that's
fresh baked goods.
Something different.
It's definitely something different.
Yeah. Quick, too. Didn't even burn it.
Almost. I'm glad you caught it on time because it was quick. It was like, I think it cooked 13 minutes on like low. So very quick. It's neat. It'd be interesting to try regular food instead of just cake. One of the nice things about having the new bed extension in the Scamp is that if I get all the stuff ready the night before, I can just kind of scoot down toward the end of the bed and make coffee, and then you get to enjoy coffee in bed first thing in the morning. Especially when it's chilly out, this is a really nice treat. This is also when our extra folding kitchen side table really comes in handy. Then it was time to pack up the Scamp and head home. I used the Hilo shower to wash the dishes. This is something that I figured out when the Scamp is winterized and I can't use the sink or the water inside. Having a basin and the Hilo shower to actually wash and rinse off the dishes is very helpful. Makes a big difference in being able to use the Scamp after it's been winterized, which is really our goal for this year, that we're not going to put the Scamp away for the winter. We want to see how much we can use it during the winter season to still get out and be able to do things. Thanks for coming along with us on this trip. In the next video, we're going to be taking the Scamp down to Cape May, New Jersey, and we'll be seeing some of the fancy Victorian houses that are decorated with Christmas lights, and we'll be doing a little bit more cold weather camping. So we hope to see you in the next video.
Injustice, the next president to be, the news and what you hear, your career. It's time for you to face those fears, and it's all fair to be aware, and I'll be there, so don't be scared. Just take a deep breath of air, and 1, 2, 3 to 10, you begin to focus again, and though time flies, we'll have enough to realize this bigger than the both of us.